This is a 1969. For those of you who are audio only, people will be audio only, right? This is the podcast, right?
Yeah, it is, but we started like 10% audio or video when we first started it, and it's actually creeping a little bit. We're getting more and more of people who are into the video, but assume it is audio only for sure.
Well, I've been thinking about, this is kind of a rewind, but I want to open a wrench retail store where it's full of really cool bits. Think like period correct meets DIY somehow, where it's just got this vibe. You can hang out and listen to those Cafe LS50 speakers and drink some whiskey and watch the cool videos on the wall. But to do that, I wanted to get proof of concept that the idea was sound. To get proof of concept, I wanted to build an audience. To build an audience, I decided YouTube was the way to go. To build an audience on YouTube, you really need a build or like something consistent content-wise.
Yeah.
You need a hook. So I thought I want to do a car. I did this gray car behind me in 2007. I think I painted this car. So I'm 14 years into this thing. Gray, by the way, first gray. Thank you. I'll take all the commission. But
yeah, you really has started primer. You really started the flat gray.
I'm the original.
I like that.
Anyway,
that gray car is really nice. I go on Mike's Instagram, which is it just wrench on Instagram?
Underscores
on both sides, right? Underscore
Somebody has
RENNCH underscore, and his gray car, which we see out at the old C's and C's, is quite good. It's a fucking good looking car.
Thank you. Yeah. It is it's the purest mobile. So this has a 3.6 from a 1995 993. It's about 300 horsepower. It's got a 731 ring and pinion from the 72 911. So first gear is almost unusable in it. Like it is just
that's
ripping
hilarious. It's the first gear is like the off-road gear in the 959. Basically.
Yeah, so I can basically start it in second, but third gear in this car is porn. Like it is absolutely torquey, and so when you're in the mountains in third gear, it's just spectacular. Anyway, so I wanted to build. To me, it felt like these cars had become a little too precious in the last 5 years. And when I was a kid and I had Porsche posters on the wall, you could buy these things for a couple, whatever. I paid $5,000 for this shell, for this gray one. And so I wanted to build. And to build my YouTube channel, I wanted a long-term thing because that gets subscribers interested. I found this car on Craigslist. This is a 1969 911S that had been completely converted to a almost tube frame race car. So fully integrated roll cage, coilovers front and rear, 935 rear suspension, camber adjustments front and rear. Like it had all the things.
Yeah.
And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to make, in my mind, almost like a Formula One concept where it's like, this is all prototype stuff that if it works, it's going to filter down into, the rest of our line. So the concept is if I can get something that would come on like a 2022 Mercedes S-Class and they make it for the aftermarket and I can integrate it invisibly, I'm doing it on this car.
Like,
just don't use their dashboard.
What? Like what? Give me an example.
Like a 14-inch digital dash from Haltech. But I can put vintage gauges on it. You know what I mean? So it'll have all my stuff.
Do you think people want that?
For the
Do you think people are like, what sucks about this old 911? Gauges. We should have a screen.
Well,
here.
The fact that I'm doing twin turbo, and I have all kinds of different things I didn't want to put a bunch of analog gauges to monitor the stuff that's going to be going on in here. Here, let me get through it, and then you can poo-poo because I knew you hate it. But I will. Let me get through the stuff I think is kind of cool.
Okay.
Rear view mirrors that look like regular rear view mirrors, but inside them are cameras. And so I've got a rear camera, two side view cameras, but in front of them is clear glass with mirrored window tint. So you never know there's a camera behind there. But I'll have modern, backup and wide angle viewing and things like that. I'll have, like I said, twin turbos, kind of look 935 style, with little peekaboo turbos in the back, which will be kind of fun.
A ball sack on a dog.
Like busy.
You can sort of see them. Yeah, there's a little ball sack.
Which I think is kind of cool.
That looks cool. Yeah, that's a cool look. Yeah.
Integrated 911R taillights, but there'll be new LEDs. In fact, this company, I've got them kind of on there right now. What are they called? Lauren Teal is doing these really cool, like, integrated lights. I really want it to be like smart enabled. I would love to be at a Cars and Coffee and be like, I can't say the A word because my whole garage is smart, but like, or let's say, hey Siri, it's getting hot in here, and all my windows go down. Like, wouldn't that be sick? Just for fun? It's all SEMA and fun.
Ideas. I hate every single one of these ideas, Mike.
I know you do.
These all would take a car that I would spend extra money to not have any of them in, and then put this shit in.
I know.
All right.
I'm well aware.
Okay. Keep going. You keep at it. Let's see. What else do I hate about this car?
Here's the thing, though. This car will be 400 plus horsepower for less than $5,000 into the power plant. So
this I'm into. I mean, you can go into it.
Oh yeah. So you're talking about starting with an engine and then putting $5,000 more into it? Or you're talking about starting with no engine and building a $5,000
That's including the engine. The engine was $1,100.
And it's what engine?
It's the Subaru EZ30R. Which is the flat six engine that was co-designed by Porsche. And it starts at, the stock version is 240, but once you put a Haltech on it, it's really 300. And then it's $1,100.
Okay. And then you put turbos on it too. And
doing twin turbos.
How close is it to an actual Porsche engine? Have you ever seen someone put this engine in a car before? Does it sound and feel like a Porsche engine when you're done?
Is that something you can dial up, Zach? This is a question that I had planned for.
Dial it up.
Sorry, say that question.
What do you need to dial up?
Can you
Google?
Can you dial up that link that I sent you earlier?
The link
Zach?
that you sent earlier.
I can't play it because it's a YouTube video and we'll get pinched for copyright.
Yeah, you can't play no YouTube on the YouTube, man.
I could capture it really quick.
Even if it's just the sound, it doesn't matter.
Actually,
man.
You know
Well,
the sound
maybe.
might work.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
It's just a sound. It's not like it's not a song.
Tens of dollars in revenue share.
It's not a song. It's not like Miley
it's not about
Cyrus.
No, it's not. It
doesn't matter.
Songs. It's YouTube. It's YouTube clips. Yeah, the YouTube like.
I just won't show the video, but I think the sound will be all right.
This is.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is the sound of the engine.
I mean,
It sounds. Yeah. I mean, I guess it does sound like vaguely Porsche-esque.
I think it's pretty.
Zach thinks it's pretty Porsche-like.
Up in the revs,
Sounds like a GT car to me.
I think it sounds pretty nice. Yeah, it sounds pretty nice.
I think it
sounds like a GT car to me.
Yeah. When you take apart the engine and you are looking at the actual, I've never seen one of those engines out of a car. Does it look like a Porsche engine?
Not only does it look like one, but there are Porsche part numbers on the engine.
The fuck out of here. Like what?
No, it was co-designed by Porsche.
Well, but are there interchangeable? Does that
like
mean there's interchangeable parts with the 911? What does that mean exactly?
I've not taken it apart. I'm going by professional people that do it. But if I think you can think of it like an SC motor with VTEC and variable valve timing and all that kind of stuff. So it's got quad cam. It's got everything you could tune on an engine. It kind of exists. So it's kind of a modern platform. So imagine if they built an SC motor today. That's kind of like
it's a pretty cool hack. I gotta say, I wasn't.
that's interesting.
That.
Yeah.
What's the weight difference between the engine that came out of that car and the engine?
It's 65 pounds lighter than the Porsche motor.
Then
but
the one that came in a
bolt-on
69 or then the lightest version of it?
Like a 3-liter. They're both 3-liter. Like if you look at I have a little comparison chart that I did on one of my YouTube videos. They're almost precise. They're almost exactly the same. But this is a little bit lighter. And by the time I add the turbos on, it's back to being, pretty close. But
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, for about
the inside of the engine can handle the boost of turbos?
I'm right at the edge of
Oh boy.
So I'm basically like, they say the internals would take about 400 horsepower, give or take. And there's plenty of people that have done that. But if I were to, now I'm running almost no boost. I'll be running like 6 pounds of boost or something crazy low. But if I decided to like really do it, this is capable of 700, I think 750 or something like that. But you got to build it.
Yeah. But it's not like the Porsche engine where. Is it like the Porsche where the case and the cylinders are like separate, like where they're like individual cylinders like that, or because it's a water-cooled engine, you don't have to build it like that?
You don't have to build it like that.
Okay.
Because you don't need the air cooling between the cylinders like that.
Right. I realize that probably sounds very dumb to a super nerd, but like to me, I don't know. I've never seen one falling apart, so I don't know.
But I mean, look, cool, the whole thing's been super fun. It's an experiment.
And what gearbox are you using again? I'm
using the G96 from a 996.
That's kind of good, actually. That might work nicely.
So I have a custom adapter plate that I'm going to be selling. And that one, so the goal is to first make an engine cradle for some kid finds a 912 at a junkyard and wants to do something while he's building his $40,000 180 horsepower Porsche engine. And he wants to drive it around. So I have an engine cradle that's going to bolt up to factory mounts. And then this adapter plate will be for people that like have a 996 or a Boxster or a Cayman that maybe blow the engine up. And they're sort of like, can I do something else? And you'll be able to buy this engine for $1,100 on eBay or wherever you want. And, put the adapter plate on and roll. So that's the plan anyway.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, it certainly is interesting. What is involved in terms of like fitting all the other shit? Like, do you get power steering? Do you get, can you get the accessories to work, or is it really just the bare engine?
Well, no, I mean, if I wanted to, I could run all of that stuff. It's got AC, it's got power steering.
There's room in there for all that stuff. Like, I don't know where the bracketry goes or anything.
I took it off. Like I have it. It's a beautifully packaged little engine. But I didn't want to run power steering. I'd rather keep it, analog, despite the fact that I'm going drive-by-wire with the pedal and hydraulic for the clutch. But one of the cool things is it's cable shift. So instead of that, having to run like the rods, because people that do like Subaru conversions, you have to put the rods outside of the tunnel, like they're high.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I actually think that looks kind of cool, like a spiker. If you finish the rods right, it can look kind of neat, But
it forces you to put that work in.
Yeah, and you don't have a choice. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
It's kind of a chrome plate my rods.
Well, but if you're talking about a 6-speed gearbox too, that's different for a. For a car that's that old, that's a big difference. Yeah, and Busy wanted to set me up with a GT2, 996 GT2 full setup, and I said, how funny would it be to have like a Momo Prototipo with like paddle shift buttons on it or something? But you know what I mean, just to really irritate the world. Yeah. But no, it's gonna be cool, man. I think it's gonna be a cool build, and when it's done, then you can feel free to critique all you want. I just don't, I don't, one of the things I like least about new cars is the constant presence of tech that feels like it's creeping more and more into my life. I mean, Zach and I just did the Mach-E for a week, which overwhelmingly was a fucking fabulous vehicle. I mean, really well executed by Ford, and nice to drive, and the range estimates are spot on, and it was made well, but they over-teched it a little bit. I mean, they over-tech in the same way they over-tech other things as well, I
felt that about the Land Rover Discovery. My friend just got a brand new Discovery, and it was almost intimidating to drive. I'm like, I didn't really like the rear view mirror because it was all camera and no like actual mirror, so you couldn't kind of move left and right and see where you were.
Isn't it? The rear view mirror as a screen is weird as fuck. I've driven multiple GM vehicles that had that, and I've disabled it immediately.
That's why their execution is great, because you can disable it and it becomes a mirror seamlessly.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's cool.
Yeah.
You can.
So hopefully I can do something like that with mine if I decide to go that route. I would like to be able to switch.
You should
back
pair
and
all
forth.
that wonky shit you're doing with the center seat driving position from Busy. You should have him convert that shit to drive.
Totally.
Fuck it, go all the way. I drove his Boxster that was center seat.
It was killer.
It was crazy. I mean, it was really nuts. When I drove it, I would say that it was not fully refined and dialed in yet, and it was mildly ragged and gnarly. And also, I think he's learned his lesson by now. I don't know about a lesson, but like, he continuously chooses to use manual brakes in cars, and I hate that. I hate. He builds these insanely fast cars with these manual brakes, and he says it's for feel, and I'm like, I have to stand on this pedal to stop this death missile, dude. Come on, help me out.
Formula One car.
Yeah. So if I were you, I would definitely use. I heard you say hydraulic. You say hydraulic brakes or hydraulic clutch? What do you say?
Yeah. Hydraulic clutch, hydraulic brakes. The brakes. He's already got, again, this thing was built as a race car, so it's already got a dual master cylinder with brake bias, all fully set up. Yeah, so it's really.
Were you able to salvage a bunch of shit from what was done before?
Yeah, and I've had to undo a number of it just to get stock body panels back on, because it had a 993 GT2 body kit on it.
Did it was fit like kind of like wonky and weird?
No, it was gorgeous.
Really?
No, you did. The guy, whoever engineered this car, first of all, way over-engineered it. It's got, like, the roll cage feels like it's made of, like, 1-inch thick tubing. But it's so well done. You can tell that this guy was he passed away. So what happened was, it's kind of a cool story. It was father and son that built the car. They own a shop down kind of near me. The guy was this master fabricator dude. And so they built this car, and then they got into a falling out. So it's never been outside. So this thing was done in 1994, and it's never been outside. It was brand new. So all the fabrication was done. Isn't it? Yeah. So it sat for 25 years, and then I bought it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you bought it with no engine?
No engine, no trans, no nothing. I'm working with Matt Monson. I don't know if you know Matt. Yeah. It's the reason I can make it a blasphemy build is because it's got almost there's no possibility, first of all, of bringing it back to be a 911S. Like, zero. But 00022, that's serial. Crazy.
Really? Wow.
It's 22nd off the line.
That's early. Yeah. Are you sure? I mean, is it not 911? I mean, because you're talking about if it was, I mean, you'd have to find the original engine if it existed, but it's just not worth it.
And dude, when you see what's been the shell has been so packed.
At this point, like you did. I mean, I went through your channel, watched some of the videos. Like, you have done real fabrication work on this thing.
Real fabrication.
It's not like I got a Subi engine, I'm gonna bolt it in and hand it off to like a shop, or I'm just doing this. Like, I'm clicking through, and you're cutting up like door panels and making shit fit, and then getting rid of rust and doing like. Didn't you do all metal wide body kit?
Well, I did everything you see, all the quarters, the rear, like there was no rear end on the car at all. It was completely gone. So I had to redo the whole rear end. I haven't done the panels yet. I have them. It's actually getting real ST flares, like actual ST flares from TRE Motorsports. Oh, so cool. That's going to be cool. And by the way, I'm not the biggest plugger in the world, but I'm 500 people away from 10,000 subs on my YouTube channel.
Go follow Ren on YouTube.
If you guys want to follow,
RENNCH. If you want to follow this shit, but I want to know, like, is the business going to be the parts of Porsche restoration and swapping, or is it going to be like lifestyle accessories?
Yes.
Because you showed me that tool bag thing you made that was really cool. But I don't know. It seems like a limited market for Subaru adapter plates.
God, you'd be actually really surprised. There's huge Facebook groups dedicated to just this.
Really?
I think
maybe I'm just missing out on the Facebook groups. I don't know.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
To me, the real money is in the adapter plate, where I can adapt the transmission to this engine, because that includes all Boxster, all 996, all Cayman.
Right.
So that's that whole group. And then
all people that will blow their engines and transmissions sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly.
And inevitably will not be able to afford the Porsche replacement parts because they bought that Boxster for $8,000.
If that. It's actually an easier adaptation to do a 915 transmission than it is this 96. Because there's no mount for the starter on the G96. And there's no mount for the starter on the Subaru engine. Oh. So that's included in our adapter plate now.
Oh, there you go. Well, that helps.
Yeah.
Can you do wait, so what year Subaru is that engine out of?
Like I think it goes 02 to 09 or something, or 11.
I drove the Outback it came out of. No, I drove it in an Outback. I have to tell you, in Outback, it's horrible. It's a horrible. It was a hard, but it was not horrible because of the power it made or anything like that. In fact, I do remember, you know, when you revved it out, it did feel vaguely and sound vaguely Porsche-like. But whatever Subaru had done with the throttle mapping of it was a complete fucking nightmare. And I was probably for economy reasons or whatever. I mean, if this engine was on its last year, maybe they dumbed the shit out of it to make it, you know, pass emissions or something or whatever it was that they did. I hope you can improve that. I mean, if it seemed like whatever that video you sent over, that guy had solved that problem. But yeah,
there's a tuning shop for Subaru. They're called Outfront Motorsports, and they're here in LA. And the guy, so these things are listed at 240 horsepower. So in the Outback, they're 240 horsepower.
Right.
The second you put in aftermarket ECU, it's 300 horsepower.
Wow.
So Subaru throttles the hell out of this engine.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been for emissions or something. It must have been just because of it. Yeah.